really proposed by Congress. I mean, the only one really who's the best is probably Senator Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren also coming out and working on this as well. But it shows you that people just don't understand how bad it is. Like people are failing to understand, or at least they don't want to understand how bad it is, especially for the people who are the most vulnerable today. So, yeah. In a letter sent to President Trump on Thursday, Gavin Newsom asked the U.S. Navy hospital ship Mercy be sent to L.A. through September 1st to help treat patients recovering from heart attacks, strokes, and car crashes, as well as likely surge of coronavirus patients. So pretty much was what we're hearing is the military, as you heard in that NPR report, it's very likely the military will now be used to help fight the coronavirus. So what that means is there will be a surge in field hospitals set up, normally used to maybe treat combat victims. Like the full extent of the military now will be used to set up this crisis. And I feel like we are knowing the stream of information on this is such that I really get the sense that we are finding out these really crucial pieces of information maybe a week behind when the government is really starting to make these decisions. Because, and I feel like you just get the sense with what the government has said so far and the lowballing that they've done this from jump, like you really wonder how bad it can get. What estimates do they know that we don't know? And when people start thinking at that point, and I mean, I'm no conspiracy theorist. I'm not a guy who's going to be like, oh, well, they're coming in, it's bioterror. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. But I think when we start to have that issue of trust in a government and to really put the right, like, for example, when President Trump comes out and you got to be like, we should probably wait for confirmation on that. For example, literally today, he was talking about, oh yeah, there's a malaria drug. It's like some big name that I can't say. Hydrochloroxine or something like that. That has been used to possibly, the FDA has approved it to possibly treat coronavirus. Oh my gosh. Literally, the FDA had to come out and be like, oh, no, yeah, we're not doing that. There's no such thing has happened yet as of this time. Like, we're not planning on making any sort of decision about that. No. Like, the FDA had to come out and release a statement like, what Trump said, that's not true. And this has happened, probably pretty, like, every other press conference, every 3 press conferences he does, which is absolutely insane. So, like, literally, you could be watching a President Trump press conference and take what he says, take what the president says about a national pandemic, every piece of information that he says, you have to legitimately take with a grain of salt. Like, that is where we are at as a country right now. And I'm going to research this a little bit more now. I just pulled up Twitter, and as it happens, there are more news. There's more news stories about this right now. Senator Richard Burr sold it to $1.6 million of stock around the time he was receiving daily briefings with the health threat. We know about that. Looks like also Kelly Loffler, has also dumped stock, and maybe James Inhofe too. It seems at this point now James Inhofe is the next one of Oklahoma, Burr and Loffler. So yeah, this is probably a story that's going to have a lot more information about it by tomorrow. And it looks like maybe Ron Johnson as well. It's literally happening right now. Like, this is happening right now as I'm scrolling through Twitter. Trends are popping up all over the place. And look at this. We have Tucker Carlson calling on Richard Burr to resign, and she's joined by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So check this out. This is Tucker Carlson calling on Republican Senator Richard Burr to resign for stock trading. And this is probably the least of what should happen to Richard Burr.
So you may have seen the news reports this afternoon. The chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee sold more than $1 million in stock in mid-February after learning how devastating the Chinese coronavirus could be. He had inside information about what could happen to our country, which is now happening, but he didn't warn the public. He didn't give a primetime address. He didn't go on television to sound the alarm. He didn't even disavow an op-ed he'd written just 10 days before claiming America was, quote, better prepared than ever for coronavirus. He didn't do any of those things. Instead, what did he do? He dumped his shares in hotel stocks so he wouldn't lose money. And then he stayed silent. Now, maybe there's an honest explanation for what he did. If there is, he should share it with the rest of us immediately. Otherwise, he must resign from the Senate and face prosecution for insider trading. There is no greater moral crime than betraying your country in a time of crisis. And that appears to be what happened. We'll have more on the story tomorrow.
And how did we not know about what was going on here? This is a Senate intelligence guy. Probably other people knew about it. If we knew it was going to be this bad, also, why didn't we say so? That's a first question. And second of all, how many other senators did this? It's looking like more and more, time and time again, it's popping up really rapidly at this point. So we're following this. We're taking a look at what is going on here. Things are popping up by the minute. So, and looks like Kelly Loffler is the newest one on this. So Kelly Loffler, she's married to Jeffrey Sprecher, the chairman of the New York State Stock Exchange and the chairman of the CEO of the Intercontinental Exchange, which is NYSE's parent company. And so she has been selling off some stuff too, and she seems to be, she's a big POTUS supporter. She's a Georgia senator. There's no denying POTUS economy is on fire, bringing more jobs and opportunity to Georgia and Americans. Wages are up. Yeah, this is on February 11th. Yeah, there has to be more people here. This is crazy. This is really crazy. So, yeah, and it's all coming up right now. People's 401ks, everything. Americans took a beating on this, and the senators. Damn, this is the kind of stuff that really, if it's spread and talked about, I think the right way, it's going to get really people pissed off more and more and more and more about the government. And interesting, so far it's just Republicans at this point, but we will be looking. This is supposedly what's been going on here. This is the bullet points of what's going on. So she was briefed on COVID-19 January 24th. She started selling her stock off that day, according to Lachlan Markay of the Daily Beast. And she also buys a teleconferencing stock. She starts buying a stock in Zoom, probably. She starts buying Zoom. Seems to be what's happening here. Yeah, this is Kelly Loffler. Let's see what she's saying. She dumped millions of stocks. How much you want to bet it's Zoom? But as I'm literally just scrolling through this article right now. So yeah, she said, appreciate today's briefing from President's top health officials on the novel coronavirus outbreak. She tweeted on January 24th after the briefing, literally saying, meanwhile, probably swiping over, texting a broker, please, can you sell all of my stocks? My husband said it's going to be bad. So, hubby, can you please sell all my stocks? Thank you. Yeah, so the first transaction was a sale of a stock in the company of Residio Technologies worth between $50,000 and $100,000. The company's stock price has fallen by more than half since then, and Dow Jones Industrial Average has shed, as I'm sure you know, more than 10,000 points, a third of its value. It was the first of 29 stock transactions Loeffler and her husband made through mid-February, all but two of which were sales. One of Loeffler's two purchases was a stock worth between $100,000 and $250,000 in Citrix, a technology company that offers teleworking software and has since seen a small bump in stock price since Loeffler bought it in a result of coronavirus-induced market turmoil and the fact that a lot more people are going to be wanting to use said software. yeah, so she said, concerned about hashtag coronavirus? Remember this. The consumer is strong, the economy is strong, jobs are growing, which puts us in the best economic position to tackle hashtag COVID-19 and keep Americans safe. Yeah, so she's really got her mind tunnel vision focused on the American people here. That's really good to see. Yeah, so it looks like Kelly Loffler, James Inhofe, and possibly Ron Johnson as well getting embroiled in this scandal here. And it looks like, yeah, they just dumped their bad assets and left the American people to rot. So it is quite crazy. Yeah. And meanwhile, we have the Trump administration's pleas to states, please don't talk about your unemployment stats. The Trump administration is asking labor officials of various states to delay releasing the precise number of unemployment claims they are fielding, an indication of how uneasy policymakers are really talking about this coronavirus outbreak. It is rough out there. In an email sent Wednesday, the Labor Department instructed state officials to provide only information using generalities. Seems to be what we're talking about. We're just operating now in generalities. Say a very high, large increase until this department releases the total number of national claims next Thursday is what they have to do. So the emails were shared by the New York Times, noted that the report were monitored closely by financial markets and should therefore remain embargoed. States should not provide numeric values to the public. This is the order from Gay Gilbert, the administrator of the Office of Employment Insurance. So Gilbert has worked as the Labor Department at the Labor Department under presence of both parties, and there's no indication she was urged by political appointees to make this request. But what she's really trying to do is maybe possibly appease the president, maybe get the markets under control, maybe just try and establish some sort of calm, because nobody really knows what's going on. And a lot of people you can see in the White House, when you have Steve Mnuchin saying, we're going to try and give out cash payments, and the number it's going to be is going to be high, higher than what's in the press. Like when you have Steve Mnuchin promising that, like that's how you know things are really crazy, and are only probably going to get crazier. And there really are. So what it seems like what's going on right now here is the Senate Republicans' plan includes corporate tax cuts, limits on paid leave, and $1,200 checks for taxpayers, which is, again, more than, like, literally, you have, this is not a good plan by any stretch of imagination, but you have Kamala Harris coming out and proposing $500 in tax credits per married couple. So the Democrats don't have too much of a leg to stand on, although there has been some people pushing some good plans on the Democratic side. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Sherrod Brown, expanding unemployment, tackling unemployment insurance, hopefully not unemployment, but unemployment insurance, talking about making some sort of UBI as well. So Senate Republicans unveiled an economic rescue plan on Thursday. Pretty much the outline of it was provide hundreds of billions of dollars in loans to big businesses and small businesses, large corporate tax cuts, which is something, again, we could do without, and checks of $1,200 for many taxpayers, as well as impose limits on a paid leave program enacted this week to respond to the coronavirus crisis. So, yeah, this is the crazy, like, you cannot impose that much more limits on this crisis, on this paid leave program. This is, again, the one by Nancy Pelosi that was passed. They literally leaves out 80% of the American workforce. Like, it can't be much more limited. We want 10, 5, 2%. It's likely to face opposition from Democrats who have their own plans. They've, again, pushed for more generous pay leave benefits. Not too much more generous. Like, you can't go crazy here. But there really needs to be only one response to this. And I think you gotta look out for the American workers here at this point. It is crazy stuff. So with the airlines making, CEOs making $15 million, $12 million, $10 million, $8 million, at Delta, American, United, and Southwest, and Alaska Air making $4 million against Alaska Air. But, it is, for, if they want bailouts, I think they should at least follow Elizabeth Warren's plan, which is companies must maintain their payroll and use their funds to keep people working on payroll. That's something that must happen if they or a certain industry wants a bailout, companies must provide a $15 minimum wage as quickly as practicable, but no later than 1 year of the national emergency declaration ending. Companies are permanently prohibited from engaging in share repurchases, so no stock buybacks that companies have been using to enrich their richest and keep the workers out. Companies are prohibited from paying out dividends or executive bonuses while they're receiving any relief and for 3 years thereafter. Done completely. It's a very, very important. Another thing people did after